guys, welcome back. This is Stephanie from My Porch Prints, and today we are going to be making these Shabby tab specimen cards. And I just wanted to give you a quick look at what these look like printed out. I've printed most of these, actually pretty much everything from the kit, on cardstock. And then I also went ahead and printed these inserts on vellum. And what that's going to do is give us that kind of specimen card look, you know, that kind of clear slide look. So I'm going to go ahead and put a link below to the vellum that I print on so that you can do it too if you want to. And then I'm going to cut these out and we're going to get them put together. Okay, so I cut out a bunch of the pieces from the kit and I went ahead and made up a couple of the cards so you can see what they'll look like when they're finished. And this one I made with vellum, so it's kind of see-through. Oops. And then this one I just printed on cardstock. You can see that's what it looks like. Oop. So let's go ahead and make some of these. So I've cut out the white part on these and then I left this one so I could show you kind of how it's done. And if you don't have a cutting machine like a Cricut or something and you're just hand cutting these, a good way to kind of start your cut is to use a paper punch. And that'll help you so you can get your scissors in here and cut. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to want to do is to fold our card in half. And to do that, I like to use my scoreboard. And of course it's covered in stuff, so let me clear it off. There we go. And I just put the center line here and make sure it's lined up. And then I'm just going to score right there along that line. But if you don't have a scoreboard, you can just, kind of eyeball it, or you can use like a ruler and maybe like a butter knife or something to kind of get that fold where you want it. Oops, I think Toby found a chew toy. And no matter what you do, you're probably not going to get it perfect, especially if you're hand cutting it. So you may have to just make some small adjustments. Just kind of as you go. And then I also like to round off my corners. Oops, I think I need to cut a little more on this side. Hold on. I might have to find Toby a different toy. Okay, and I've got a just a second. Okay, let's see if Toby likes that quieter chew toy better than the noisy one. All right, so as I was saying, I'm going to go ahead and just round my corners, and this is a corner rounding punch. And it's getting a little dull, so I'm gonna have to push kind of hard here, especially through double cardstock. And so when you're done, it should look like these. And you just fold it in half. And then if you want to hide some of the white edges that are showing, you can always use some distress ink around the edges, and that's what I did on this one. And so I'll go ahead and do one of these just to show you kind of what I mean. So I usually go around the outside. And you'll want to do this all on the back side as well, but I'm not going to right now because I'm going to save a little time. And then you want to do inside your window. And I'm just using a makeup sponge, but they do have, sponges for inking that you can buy. It's kind of whatever works best for you. And then you can still see some of the white sometimes, so I'll sometimes open this up and just go ahead and do it on the inside too. That way, if you know this gets just a little bit off center, you won't see the white showing through. And as I was mentioning, we're going to cut a little divot out, and I've got this 1-inch circle punch. And what I'm gonna do is just cut right in the center of this and a really small amount, just so I don't cut all the way through, because I don't wanna, you know, cut this in half. But you don't have to do this part. This is just if you want to. There we go. And then I'll ink that too. And that just gives us a little place for our tab to go. I'll do that on this one as well. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and, there goes Toby. He's probably looking for that chew toy that I took away. We're gonna go ahead and glue these. Okay, you guys, I'm interrupting my previous video with an update. We went ahead and added these tabs to the sides of these cards, and what that's going to do is just make it easier for these to slide in and out. And so I just wanted to give you a quick look at that and what it looks like, and we'll go ahead and put it together. So you just apply glue to these tabs, and then you just glue them to your card. Just like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is, while these are drying, assemble our cards. And I'm going to do one cardstock and one vellum. And again, I'll put the link down below for printing on vellum. You want to be careful when you handle it when it comes right out of the printer, because the ink can smear. I actually smudged this one a little bit, if you can see that. So just be kind of aware that that might be smudgy even after it's dried for a minute or two. And again, if you want, you can ink your edges. I'll go ahead and do that on the card. And you can even like round your corners on this card if you want to. It's really up to you what you want to do. And I think this has a little bit of a white edge, so I'm going to get rid of that really quickly here. And this is a little trick. If you're cutting vellum, or you know, anything that you don't want to crinkle, sometimes if you have a dull blade and you go in from the edge, it'll crinkle it. So what I like to do is kind of start in the middle, and then you don't get that crinkled corner. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ink my edges. Getting ahead of myself here. And then I'm going to do the same thing on my tab. And you can do the back side too if you want to. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and glue my tab or tape it onto my card. And you can use glue if you want to. I'm just using runner tape so that I don't have to wait for it to dry. And then, oh, before we slide this in, we want to decorate it a little bit. So these come with the kit. These are just little like pieces of tape or labels. And then same thing with these. And I'm gonna put my tape label on here and then my kind of metal looking label on here. And you wanna make sure that the label is far enough down that it doesn't show through the window unless you want it to show through the window. So I'm going to put mine kind of lower. And then I'm going to also give it more of a rough appearance. This is a little tool from HOLTZ, and it's for just kind of roughing up your edges. You can see it gives it kind of a cool old look. And then I'm going to tear the edges of this too to give it even more of a kind of old-timey look. And to top it off, I'm going to use a little ink. There we go. And I'm going to kind of smooth this backside because it's really rough now. I'm just using my fingernail to kind of smooth it out so that I can stick it on here and not have it be too bumpy. And again, just make sure if you don't want it to show in your window that you put it low enough. And I'm going to go ahead and use glue stick, but you can use whatever you want for yours. And while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and add our little plaque here. And I'm just going to add ink to the edges so it doesn't look white. Gives it more of a vintage look. And then I'm going to use mounting tape. And I like to, I've said this before, but I like to buy mine in the hardware section instead of the crafting section because it's usually less expensive and you get more. And you don't have to use mounting tape if you don't have any, that's fine. I just like it because it gives it a little bit of a dimension. Makes it look a little more like an actual label. I'm just going to center it on here the best I can. There we go. Hopefully this will slide in. There we go. Okay, and that's our first specimen card done. And if you wanted, you could print this twice, you know, and maybe print it so that you have an image on the back as well. That's up to you. All right, let's do our vellum one. So I'm not going to bother with inking these. And again, just be careful handling the vellum that you don't get smudges. I am going to ink this one because it's going to show white on the edges and that won't look right. Oh, before I attach that, I think I'm going to attach this one. We'll rough it up again. Go. And I'm going to smooth the back of it so it'll sit flat. And just use a little glue stick. And again, don't forget to put it low enough that it won't show through the window. And the vellum's a little more delicate than cardstock, so you'll have to play with it a little bit to make it fit. But there you go. You can kind of see that you can see through it. And it's that easy. And you can finish all the rest and use them in your journal. All right, thanks for watching, everyone.